What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here, and today we are going to learn how to turn basic guitar chords into bastions of peaceful reflection, okay? So you're going to want to click the tab below, the link below, to get you the tab for what we're going to do here. We're going to take two chords, C major and G major, and kind of rock them out in different ways that will bring peace and calming to your surrounding atmosphere. And it's going to sound like this. Okay, so first, right off the bat, we have just two chords, C major, G major. Now if you notice in the example, I didn't play them as open chords, I played them as different voicings. Now the great thing about these voicings is they may look like bar chords, but they are not bar chords. Just as any good peacemaker will tell you, things are not always what they seem. So this first one is a major 7 chord voicing. So we're gonna do the C part and then we're gonna do the G part, all right? C major 7. Your root note is the same as it would be in an open chord, 3 on the A string. Your ring finger is going to grab 5 on the D string, and your middle finger is going to grab 4 on the G string. Now, this could be the whole thing if you want, but again, if you're a true peaceful warrior, your pinky is going to grab the 5th fret on the B string. So this chord voicing is going to be on the chart below that you clicked on. And we can play actually all 6 strings if you want, because the open low and high E strings are in a C major chord, specifically a C major 7 chord. If you really want the root note there, you can just get the bottom 5 strings. Or you can just get the middle 4 strings. Again, there's no one way to have true peace. There are many ways. Now we're gonna follow this up with this little arpeggio type riff here. Okay? And this comes from the C major scale or C major 7 arpeggio. Now, we're gonna look at this through the prism of a scale shape like this. Okay, so the first tab you're gonna see on that chart is gonna look like this. A string 3, 5, 7. Same thing on the D string. And then in the G string we have 4, 5. 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, 4, 5. Now, again, some people can reach this without having to move. This is like a 3 note per string major scale. Maybe you've seen it before, maybe you haven't, doesn't really matter. We don't have to play it while anchoring your finger, even though this can be a great exercise for your reach. What we're more interested in is just seeing the location of these 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, we're gonna follow up the C major 7 chord with, again, it sounds like this. Okay, so you'll notice that I'm not keeping my hand in that position the whole time. I'm sliding sometimes. Again, there are different techniques that you can utilize, but the shape in our mind's eye is gonna look like that in that first tab that I put up there. So, we're gonna kind of maneuver around this shape in a very peaceful, beautiful way. We're gonna start with the root note, into the second note, C, D, maybe we slide into that 3rd note. So we just play the first 3 notes of the C major scale. And then we're gonna end up going down a string to the 5th fret on the D string. So, right there, that could be just considered an arpeggio of a C major chord. Arpeggio, just playing a chord 1 note at a time. And then we're gonna go all the way down to the octave C, which is the last note in that scale that we did, okay? So we have 3A, 5A, 7A, 5D, straight down. Now after this is where the calming truly takes over. We're gonna go a half step down. This is gonna be the major 7, a B note in the key of C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? So after we go through this, it kinda, creates a little bit of like, is this really peace? Then, oh yeah, there it is, right? After we get to the major 7 here, we're gonna go back to the 5th note in the key, which again is the 5th fret. Really easy to remember here. 5th fret on the D string. So, and then once we get there, we're gonna slide 5 to 7, back to 5, to kind of end on this note right here, which is a G note, okay? So, I'll do the whole thing super slow again. There's the chord. Even slower. All right, what could be, tell me that your nerves haven't calmed down after hearing such a beautiful major 7 arpeggio style thing, right? Again, that just comes from the C major 7 arpeggio or the C major scale. The cool thing about this is really movable. So we're gonna actually use the G major chord as an example here, okay? So again, it looks like this. This is gonna be the chord we're using, not this open G major chord. But we can think of this as a different type of open G major chord. When it looks a lot like a bar chord, you're probably like, Sean, what is that? That's obviously a bar chord. No, 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 no. If you look, the B and E strings are actually open on this one. So even though I kind of have a bar chord shape, I'm only holding down 3E, 5A, 5D, 4G. And I'm leaving the E and the B strings wide open. Right? Okay, and then, once we have that, again, this is optional. I think this kind of open sounding chords sound prettier. It's really just taking a G major chord and adding an E. And then if you count through the G major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, that's the 6th note. So if we do that, that's a G major 6 chord. It could be a way to look at this, right? Now we can do the exact same thing that we did with the C, but just start it on a G. Just move everything upper fret, because here's the C, here's the G. All this stuff is gonna apply in this octave range, so we can just start here. G, A, B, D, G. F sharp is 7th. Okay, the exact same thing. So 3E, 5E, 7E, 5A, 5D, 4D, back to the A string, 5, 7, 5. Okay, so think of it as a lick, think of it as a riff, arpeggio, however you think of it. Just think of peace. So, so we can do these back to back, all right? And I'm gonna skip the chords for right now. I'm just gonna go arpeggio or arpeggio to arpeggio. So starting with the C, 3rd fret on the A string. Then I can jump. We ended on the 5th fret of the D string, which maybe you know this is actually a G note. So it would be natural to octave down and then do the same thing on the G thing. So this kind of, the first C actually leads us into the second one. They pair really well together. So if you add them after the chord, you get a C major 7 to a G major 6, but still a G major 7 arpeggio. Now the great thing about this is once you learn this scale position, you can kind of swap out any note in there and make up your own licks or riffs or arpeggios over all of them. Like I said, that G major 6 was the chord we have when we open up the high E string on a G. And again, you can do this in this shape too. Just add that open E string. A lot of times that open E string will be really pretty if you want to add it to kind of maybe change up your chords a little bit. If we want to match the riff that we're doing to that chord, instead of making it a major 7, remember that 4th fret here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe we want to emphasize the 6th note a little bit more because we're getting a 6th chord in there. Instead of going to that 7, let's jump to the 6 instead. So, all right, instead of going here to that major 7 like we did the first time in the first tab, the next thing on the tab chart is gonna look like this. So here's, first I'll do the major 7 one. And then I'll do a major 6 one. All right, really both kind of pretty ways to play around in G major. So you can think of this as stuff to do over a C major or a G major, or you can think of this as stuff to do absolutely anywhere. Just find a root note. Let's take a totally different key. Let's take B flat, okay? Now, using the open chord trick won't always really totally work, but the arpeggio will always work over certain types of major chords, okay? So if I wanted to play like the 6th fret on the low E string is B flat or A sharp, I can add that. Or the 6th one. So the great thing about learning these kind of, riff roadmap type things is you can move these absolutely anywhere. You can connect them like we already showed. And then just move them all around the place, right? So I really think that once I started learning more arpeggiated lead sequence type stuff, because this isn't really like, some people consider this lead playing. I just kind of think of this as an extension of what a chord is, and finding those chord tones in different places around the neck to kind of make your playing just seem a little more, I don't know, just a little more colorful, I suppose, because you're adding tones outside of just a major or minor chord. So I'm a big fan of kind of adding these little flourishes in and around chords. So again, it's not just about using these, it's about taking your own knowledge and finding what you like, what intervals you like. I'm a huge major 7 fan, major 6 guy, so that's why I kind of use this as an example. But really, just chart out the scale in a way that you can see it, even if you don't have to fly through it, and just kind of get creative and start experimenting with them and add them to your chord playing that you already know. And definitely, if you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, we've got other videos you might be interested in. So try checking out some of these videos around here. Anything else on the Guitar Control channel, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out some of the other videos from myself and other great instructors, and always leave your feedback in the comment section so we know what to make more of. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot.